Oop, not you. Nope. Man. Rough start. Says stream finished. Okay, this time condition is excellent. I think what's happening is every time I try to show off the shirt, because the image is so big, it causes the stream to break. Because I took a picture on my phone, but I guess you gotta downscale it or something? I'm not sure. Anyway, welcome Milo. Just in time for my favorite GX set. Your favorite? Wow. The best of GX. That's interesting. Well, we'll see. I'm not saying that this is a bad set. It's just, I don't think it's my favorite in GX. I think Phantom Darkness, Gladiator's Assault, or Light of Destruction. I know those are the next 3 sets. Well, we got Tactical Evolution before that. But I think that's like the really exciting part of GX is right at the tail end. But maybe that's just me. You get some really powerful cards in those sets. Archetypes really start taking place and having an impact on the metagame. Personal bias, I still play Volcanics and Crystal Beasts. Oh man, someone knows what's in the game. Anyway, Force the Breaker, 2 sets of jump promos, Star Deck Jaden, Cyrus. We're getting that error message again. We're just going to go through it. Let's get started. First card off, Volcanic Rocket, and this is the set's secret rare. Fire attribute, level 4, Pyro effect. When this card is summoned, you can add 1 Blaze Accelerator card from your deck or graveyard to your hand. 1900 attack, 1400 defense. Did this card get a buff? I swear it could only find the normal Blaze Accelerator at one point. But yeah, Volcanic Rocket is awesome. Meta at one point, definitely. So Volcanics actually have a weird level of metagame play where at the time there was a Volcanic deck and it was a control deck and it used a lot of the different Volcanic tools, which was good. But then every once in a while, Volcanics just crop up in the metagame. I know when Blaze Accelerator Reload came out, the deck was playable again, which is really interesting. The deck has some definite weak points, but in terms of an archetype, I think that they're hitting their mark. It's a shame what comes in a few sets because they get power creep, but man, Volcanic Rocket is sort of better than Elemental Hero Stratos. Worst card pool to pull from, definitely, but you can also get it from the graveyard, and it's got more attack, but it doesn't have a lot of the other benefits of Stratos. You can't e-call it, you can't get it with Reinforcement of the Army, but I guess you can use Bonfire to get it now, so Volcanic's even more consistent. This did mean that you only had to play 1 copy of Blaze Accelerator at the time. That always makes me nervous. Like, I need at least 2 copies in case one gets banished, because I'm just too nervous. But theoretically, you only need 1, so you get a lot of consistency. Man, Bonfire is a good card too. Obviously, that's way far in the future. Next up, Crystal Beast Ruby Carbuncle. Line attribute, level 3, Fairy effect. When this card is special summoned, you can special summon as many Crystal Beast monsters as possible from your spell and trap card zones. If this face-up card is destroyed in a monster zone, you can place it face-up in your spell and trap zone as a continuous spell, instead of sending it to the graveyard. 300 attack, 300 defense. I did not realize that that's an optional effect. So you could send it to the graveyard if you wanted to. And there's definitely times where you do want to. I guess we got to talk about how Crystal Beasts function and their role in the metagame. It is really, really interesting, the niche applications that you get with Crystal Beasts. This is Konami experimenting with giving you a resource whenever your monsters are destroyed, but the resource is debatably useful. In the set, we get the 2 dragon cards that take advantage of you having spell or traps, or cards in your spell and trap zone. But later, when we get cards like Scrap Dragon, where you can just pop a card and then pop a card on your opponent's side of the field, that's not bad. In terms of card advantage, Crystal Beasts sort of benefit, but it's also that it's not a tangible benefit. I don't know. Carbuncle's really good in Archetype, though. The other part about Crystal Beasts, if you're thinking about playing Rainbow Dragon, is now we have 7 more Crystal Beast monsters because we have the advanced Crystal Beasts. This archetype is actually pretty well future-proofed because all the support that's set here and the future support in following sets will work with the advanced Crystal Beasts as well. And even Rainbow Dragon, it just counts 7 different names, so it could be a combination of the normal, or I guess the original Crystal Beasts and the advanced ones. Ruby Carbuncle is insane and allows some incredible swarming, and is the reason Crystal Beasts have been worth toying around for 2 decades. Ooh, I like that. First, Konami rips off a superhero, and the next set they rip off a Pokemon. Shaking my head. What Pokemon? I'm not gonna lie, Carbuncle definitely looks like a Digimon to me. I think Crystal Beasts are always cool and fun to toy around with, but I don't think they ever get to the point of being good, which is a little sad. Next up, Crystal Beast Amethyst Cat. Earth attribute, level 3. Beast effect. This card can attack your opponent directly, but when it uses this effect, any battle damage it inflicts to your opponent is halved. If this face-up card is destroyed in a monster zone, you can place it in your face-up in your spell and trap zone as a continuous spell, instead of sending it to the graveyard. 1200 attack, 400 defense. Really mediocre effect. It sort of reminds me of a Submarine Roid, more or less. We got better ways of attacking the opponent directly. Raging Flame Sprite is still probably your best option, also getting under Gravity Bind, level limit area B, and getting stronger each turn still. There's a few different cards that can attack directly but get a reduction in their stats. I think you are playing Amethyst Cat if you want to play all 7 for Rainbow Dragon, but now that's less of a concern. So I think we're going to put in filler. If you want to put it down here for Rainbow Dragon gimmick, I can understand that too. Stream up for real this time? I hope so. We've been having some serious difficulty. Says, please use keyframe frequency of 4 seconds or less. Crystal Beast, at least Sapphire, Carbuncle, and Cobalt all saw meta play. They got toyed around with during Tier Lament, and Jesse Cotton has topped with them. Okay. I will accept that. I just still don't think that Amethyst Cat is very good, though. Next up, Crystal Beast, Emerald Tortoise. Water attribute, level 3, Aqua effect. Once per turn, you can target one monster you control that attacked this turn, change that target to defense position. Hey, it triggers guard penalty. Or, I guess it gives you the benefit for guard penalty. If this face-up card is destroyed in a monster zone, you can place it face-up in your spell and trap zones as a continuous spell instead of sending it to the graveyard. 600 attack, 2000 defense. Sounds good defensively. But I think we're just gonna put it next to the cat. Next up, Crystal Beast Topaz Tiger. Earth attribute, level 4, Beast effect. If this card attacks an opponent's monster, it gains 400 attack during damage step only. I believe that's similar to TG Rush Rhino, actually. And Spirit of Flames. If this face-up card is destroyed in a monster zone, you can place it face-up in your spell and trap zone as a continuous spell instead of sending it to the graveyard. 1600 attack, 1000 defense. Attacking with 2000 attack is okay, but you're not getting over Cyber Dragon, you're not getting over Monarchs. I feel like Crystal Beasts are a Feast and Famine archetype. Next up, Crystal Beast Amber Mammoth. Earth attribute, level 4, Beast effect. When another Crystal Beast monster you control is targeted for an attack, you can change the attack target to this card. If this face-up card is destroyed in a monster zone, you can place it in your face-up in your spell and trap zone as a continuous spell instead of sending it to the graveyard. 1700 attack, 1600 defense. A lot of stats, but very mediocre effect so far. Next up, Cobalt Eagle. Wind attribute, level 4, Winged Beast effect. Once per turn, you can target one Crystal Beast card you control. Place that target on top of the deck. If this face-up card is destroyed in a monster zone, you can place it face-up in your spell and trap zone as a continuous spell instead of sending it to the graveyard. 1400 attack, 800 defense. Why would you want to do that? Why do you want to take one of your Crystal Beast cards and stack your deck? Like, I know it can get them from the spell and trap zone. I guess this is wacky. I guess you could be using monster slots with Cobalt Eagle to stack your deck and then trigger Cobalt Eagle. It's a little crazy that the attributes and type and stats are all over the place, and for the Crystal Beast, it's not quite a nice unified archetype yet. They're still experimenting. What I thought they did, and I guess I'm wrong, is I thought they had 6 different types and then 1 extra. So it'd be a full attribute cycle like they did with 6 Samurai, but no. We just get wind and earth and light and weird. Cobalt is the softest of garnets. It means it doesn't break the one of later support spells because he sets himself back. Interesting. Okay. I do admit, though, the advanced Cobalt Eagle, significantly better in my opinion. I like search cards. And finally, Crystal Beast Sapphire Pegasus. Wind attribute, level 4, Beast. Look at those wings, not a winged beast. When this card is summoned, so normal, flip, or special, you can place one Crystal Beast monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard face up in your spell and trap zone as a continuous spell. If this face up card is destroyed in a monster zone, you can place it face up in your spell and trap zone as a continuous spell instead of sending it to the graveyard. 1800 attack, 1200 defense. This is a +1 on summon, no matter how you summon it. And especially it helps you recycle your important ones like Carbuncle. Pegasus is not only a great Stratos for the archetype, but the Force of the Breaker ulti is maybe the prettiest card I've ever seen. Oh, that's nice. You do have some nostalgia for the set, Milo. Next up, cover card, Volcanic Doomfire. Fire attribute, level 8, Pyro effect. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned from your hand by sending one Tri-Blaze Accelerator you control to the graveyard. During your opponent's battle phase, all attack position monsters your opponent controls that can attack must attack this card. If this card destroys a monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, destroy as many monsters your opponent controls as possible, and if you do, inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each monster destroyed by this effect. 3000 attack, 1800 defense. I am aware that this card has gotten significantly easier to summon because some of the new volcanic support ignore summoning conditions and can get out Volcanic Doomfire much easier. I don't think that Volcanic Doomfire is as good as it sounds. It sort of sounds like a Red Dragon Archfiend, to be honest. Like a proto Red Dragon Archfiend. But I don't know. It has to, your opponent attacks into it, and then their monster dies, and then all their monster dies. It's just so hard to get out, though, that you need Blaze Accelerator, and then you need Tri-Blaze Accelerator. And there's a new version of Volcanic Doomfire too. He's still questionable to run, but he's very fun to run when you do summon him, if only to get Blaze Accelerator reloads into the graveyard. Okay. I think we'll put it with the Crystal Beasts, or maybe he's just acceptable in Archetype. I'm okay with that. Next up, Volcanic Shell. Fire attribute, level 1, Pyro, effect. Once per turn, you can pay 500 life points, add 1 Volcanic Shell from your deck to your hand. This card must be in the graveyard to activate and to resolve this effect. 100 attack, 0 defense. And of course this card is worth considering today. Its free card advantage is also a soft once per turn, so the shell that's in the graveyard can trigger, and then if you do an action that removes the shell from the graveyard and get another one in the graveyard, or banish it and then bring it back to the graveyard, you can activate the effect again. There's lots of fun ways that you can play around with Shell. Obviously, Shell is intended to be recurring card advantage to be used with Blaze Accelerator, and to great effect. I'm definitely saying that is a good strategy, but just in terms of free card advantage, Shell is sort of better than Sinister Serpent, at least the modern Sinister Serpent, in my opinion. Post Errata better than Sinister Serpent. I'll say that. But yeah, free card advantage. I love that. Next up, Volcanic Scattershot. I believe this one's Volcanic Buckshot, like the English word buckshot in the Japanese anime, which I think is funny. Fire attribute, level 2, Pyro effect. If this card is sent to the graveyard, inflict 500 damage to your opponent. If this card is sent to the graveyard by the effect of Blaze Accelerator card, you can send 2 Volcanic Scattershots from your hand and or deck to the graveyard. Destroy all monsters your opponent controls. 500 attack, 0 defense. It's deck thinning, it's graveyard setup, and it's got 2 different effects that trigger in sequence. So if you are sending the other 2 Scattershots to the graveyard, this causes different effects to miss their timing. And the rulings are really weird. I've heard there are situations where Volcanic Scattershot will cause mandatory effects to not go off because of the way the chain resolves, which is crazy. But that might be a very niche application. It's still destruction, but it's, mass destruction. It's good for the time. It's definitely good for the time. And you did play it in your Volcanic deck. I think the one weakness of the Volcanics is Blaze Accelerator preventing your battle phase, but we'll get there. Scattershot is the best and worst card in the deck. He does burn and field nuking in a deck where that's the point, but drawing more than one is an incredibly painful feeling, yeah? If you can shuffle Shell back into the deck, not hard, you can get an infinite conga line of material. Yeah, Shell's great. Next up, Volcanic Blaster. Fire attribute, level 3. Pyro effect. When this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can place one volcanic monster from your deck on top of your deck. 1200 attack, 600 defense. I feel like floater monsters are getting worse. Like significantly worse. I know Scar adds it to your hand, which isn't great. Gokipon added it to your hand, which isn't great. It makes sense for Scar at least because Dark Worlds like to be in the hand. But why does this go to the top of your deck? Why stack your deck? It's not card advantage. Why couldn't this add it to your hand? Because getting a shell to hand, or getting a scattershot to hand, or getting a rocket to hand wouldn't be bad. Special summoning a rocket from deck, that'd probably be too strong. I can agree with that. Special summoning one of your ammo volcanics is not also a great plan. I just don't understand why this stacks the deck. Next up, Volcanic Slicer. Fire attribute, level 4. Pyro effect. Once per turn, you can inflict 500 damage to your opponent. If you activate this effect, this card cannot attack during this turn. 1800 attack, 1200 defense. It offers a trade-off? It is once per turn, but it's a soft once per turn. I don't know if you can loop Volcanic Slicer to cause an FTK. I like the trade-off though. And if you're just using it for a Link material or Synchro material or Xyz material, you get a free 500 damage. That's okay. I just don't think it serves the whole volcanic thing. I mean, you got Volcanic Rocket. But it's an 1800 attack with an upside. I guess on the very first turn of the game, you're not attacking anyway. Slicer is cute for the archetype, but Solar Flare is literally right there. Yep. Solar Flare Dragon 1 can lock down the battle phase, and 2 does the 500 damage and can attack. So. Next up, Volcanic Hammerer. Fire attribute, level 5. Pyro effect. Once per turn, during your main phase, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to the number of volcanic monsters in your graveyard times 200. This card cannot attack the turn you activate this effect. 2400 attack, 1500 defense. I don't know how many volcanics you can get into the graveyard reasonably. Again, this is another card. I don't think you can FTK with it. It's got a decent amount of attack, but I think it's underwhelming. In Archetype, though, if you're forfeiting your battle phase because you're using Blaze Accelerator, you might as well do some burn damage. But it's level 5, it's hard to get out. And it doesn't really scale that well, 200 per card. So 5 cards in your graveyard, and then you're finally getting to the level of what you get out of Stealth Bird every turn. And Stealth Bird is a better card still, since you don't have to tribute summon for it. I don't know. Next up, we got a whole bunch of of field spell searchers. And there's going to be a common theme in this stream. And that's like, why wasn't this card printed sooner? And we'll see why in a minute, because, man, these are not bad cards. They help with consistency so much. I think some of them are even worth considering today, but we'll get there when we get there. First up of these is Elemental Hero Captain Gold. Light attribute, level 4, Warrior effect. You can discard this card to the graveyard, add 1 Skyscraper from your deck to your hand. If Skyscraper is not face up on the field, destroy this card. 2100 attack, 800 defense. I'm pretty sure this guy is based off of Booster Gold from DC Comics. But I don't want to commit that. I think the artwork is cool. It is similar to, Zeradius and Commander Archfiend that are also in this set. It self-destructs if Skyscraper's not on the field, but it is a free Skyscraper. When we get Adjusted Gold, this card gets significantly worse, but it's free deck thinning and graveyard setup, and it's searchable in itself. You could e-call into Captain Gold. The problem is Skyscraper, the original Skyscraper, is not that great a card. If this could search a Skyscraper field spell, it'd be better because then you could get the Hero City, but I think Skyscraper on its own is not quite there. Name-wise, he is a Booster Gold reference, but definitely doesn't look the part visually. I'm going to say acceptable in Archetype because I think that's where we put Skyscraper in a previous stream. And searching Skyscraper is not bad. If this card searched Fusion Gate, I think it would be worth considering today. But it doesn't. Also, that might be too strong. Next up, Gravekeeper's Commandant. Earth Attribute, level 4, Spellcaster, effect. You can discard this card to the graveyard, add 1 Necro Valley from your deck to your hand. 1600 attack, 1500 defense. This is the new strongest level 4 Gravekeeper out there. Remember, with Necro Valley, this guy goes up to 2100 attack, which is pretty strong. You could trade for a Cyber Dragon with that. But yeah, I think that this card is definitely worth considering today because Necro Valley exists. And Necro Valley is just a floodgate, and it's a pretty searchable floodgate. This is 3 more copies of Necro Valley. Plus, you get terraforming and format dependent, of course, and metagame dependent, of course. But sometimes Necro Valley just shuts out your opponent completely. Next up, Warrior of Atlantis. Water Attribute, level 4, Aqua, effect. You can discard this card to the graveyard, add 1, a Legendary Ocean from your deck to your hand. 1900 attack, 1200 defense. I don't know why this card doesn't search Umi, or cards that treat themselves as Umi, because a Legendary Ocean always treats itself as Umi. It's a little too specific for some reason. That being said, why wasn't this card in the Water Structure deck that's based around a Legendary Ocean? It would help consistency so much. But by the time it's released, I don't know if it's as impactful. There's some niche potential for this card. On the other hand, this is a 1900 attack monster with a positive effect. You don't see a lot of those in the game at this point. I considered it an Umi stun, but there are so many ways to search Umi nowadays, I ended up cutting it. Yep. I love how all the archetype field spell searchers end at 2100 attack in their respective field spells are on the field. Oh, that is such nice. That is such a nice point. A card where the rulings around it is honestly more interesting than the card because a Legendary Ocean technically doesn't exist. I forgot about that because it's always treated as Umi. Why doesn't this card just search Umi? We're not putting it in design mistake territory, but man, this card is in need of errata. And if they just said Umi field spell, I think it would fix the problem because I know Lemuria treats itself as Umi. I know Maiden of Aqua treats itself as Umi, but that's only on the field, I think. Next up, Destroyer Saurus. Earth Attribute, level 4, Dinosaur effect. You can discard this card to the graveyard, add 1 Jurassic World from your deck to your hand. 1800 attack, 1100 defense. I didn't realize this at the time, but the Dinosaur structure deck has literally kept me up at night thinking about it. At the time that it came out, there were only 23 dinosaurs in the TCG. And that's including the ones that were released specifically in the structure deck, as well as the ones that came out in previous sets. But the Superconductor was the 23rd dinosaur in the game. Destroyer Saurus would have done so much for the Dinosaur's Roar structure deck, because you actually really require Jurassic World for, what is it, Seismic Shockwave and Volcanic Eruption? Haha, Volcanic Eruption, not a volcanic card. That's funny. But man, this card would have been so much better if it were released with the structure deck. Even with the special edition of the structure deck. Instead of, a 5-headed dragon. Other than that, it doesn't search Lost World. It doesn't... And I don't think Lost World treats itself as Jurassic World. Let me check. Okay, yeah. Lost World does not treat itself as Jurassic World. Maybe that would cause other problems too, but that's okay. I think it's good on release, but I don't see it going any higher. The only one of these that was never really worth playing, Jurassic World, is just a field spell that does nothing. I can agree with that. But Volcanic Eruption, I don't know. I guess we'll put it in filler. Next up, Zeradius, Herald of Heaven. Light attribute, level 4, fairy effect. You can discard this card to the graveyard, add 1 Sanctuary in the Sky from your deck to your hand. If Sanctuary in the Sky is not on the field, destroy this card. 2100 attack, 800 defense. So, in the previous set, we did get the cards from the OCG only structure deck that was based around Air Knight Parshaf and Counter Fairies, which heavily relies on Sanctuary in the Sky. And yes, boy, they could have benefited from Zeradius. Also, this card is good for the the Hero of Zera, Warrior of Zera lore. But so many cards rely on Sanctuary in the Sky, but Sanctuary in the Sky on itself is a brick. I want to put it right here. I wish there was more payoff for Sanctuary in the Sky, or maybe a retrain that treats itself as Sanctuary in the Sky. Maybe I'm asking for too much. Emerald Tortoise has tops? Wow. Why? Oh, he's the Aqua and Tier Elements. Gotcha. Next up, Archfiend General, which I guess I called Archfiend Commander. That's a different Archfiend. Dark Attribute, level 4, Fiend effect. You can discard this card to the graveyard, add 1 Pandemonium from your deck to your hand. If this card is on the field, but Pandemonium is not in the field, destroy this card. 2100 attack, 800 defense. I don't know if Pandemonium is worth playing today. On one hand, Pandemonium is fantastic for getting back card advantage. It's deck thinning, it's searching, you can trigger it on your own destruction effects, and a ton of the Archfiend monsters do destroy themselves or each other. I'm just wondering, is there functional Archfiend deck right now that could be using Archfiend General and Pandemonium? And the answer is maybe. This card might get some adjusting. Do Archfiends become tiered in GOAT if you add Archfiend General to the format? That's a good question. Honestly, I think Archfiends can get tiered in GOAT in general because Pandemonium is that strong and you got triple terraforming. You can consistently get Pandemonium in Archfiends, Then if you put on top of that like Archfiend's Roar, and I put a zombie engine in it with Pyramid Turtle and Vampire Lord, then you can get Card of Safe Return, and then, you know, really build the card advantage because you got Vampire Lord returning itself. You can run Book of Moon, and Archfiend's Roar are getting back your Archfiends. And if you really wanted to, you could run Deathstroke Archfiend to get back Terror King Archfiend. You'd get another hand trap that way. I think Archfiends and Goat are playable, but might run into some meta-specific threats. But they got the advantage. They got card advantage. What they don't have is a lot of great Archfiends at the time, though. So you gotta, you know, play like Summon Skull or Archfiend of Lightning or Lesser Fiend, and then Archfiend Soldier, I think, is the level 4 that you usually play. It's good for recurring card advantage, though. You can also play a lot of self-destruction cards, like Needle Sealing and Cyberjar function pretty well in Archfiend decks. Archfiends and Goat are not a joke. Pandemonium isn't as good because the Archfiends don't have enough self-pop effects. I don't know if I agree with that. Archfiend's Roar pops it at the end of the turn. And there's some other ways that you can do it. We'll have a Goat archetype discussion later, I guess. We'll move on for now. Another card, why isn't this in the structure deck? We have Harpy Queen, Wind Attribute, level 4, Winged Beast effect. This card's name becomes Harpy Lady while on the field or in the graveyard. That was so hard for them to get right. Because we had the normal Harpy Lady, then we had Harpy Lady 1, 2, and 3, which all treat themselves as Harpy Lady. Which means that you can roll a maximum of 3 in any combination. And that just kills the consistency of your Harpy deck. Because you only have 3 main deck monsters that you can use. You get Elegant Egotist, but then getting to your Harpy cards is really difficult in the structure deck. Yes, you can get them back with Hysteric Party, but Harpy Queen would have helped the deck so much, because Harpy's Hunting Ground is recurring card advantage. It's popping cards. It does get a little bit of attack gain too. But more importantly, this card functions really well with Hysteric Party because it treats itself as Harpy Lady in the graveyard. You had to run Birdface in Harpy decks at the time to try to get the consistency necessary to just get out Elegant Egotist and then bring out your Harpy Lady sisters. Man, the deck would have benefited so much from this one card. Why wasn't this released in the structure deck? I don't know if you put it all the way into worth considering today, though. Harpies were definitely tier deck at several different points in the game, and Harpy's Queen definitely helps with that. Free card advantage, not going to argue with it. Graveyard setup, great with Hysteric Party. Fantastic card. Next up, we get the third retrain, I want to say. The third retrain of our Blackluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning and Chaos Emperor Dragon Envoy at the end style cards. Because we also got Oblivion Queen of Ruin and Demise King of Armageddon already. But now we get the Sky Scourges, which is interesting. They made cards that are treated as another card's name while on the deck without counting towards the 3-card limit with Gunkin, Suship, Shari Red. I'm just happy they finally got it right on Harpy Queen. But our first Sky Scourge is Endrise. Light Attribute, level 8, Fairy Effect. This card cannot be normal summoned or set. This card cannot be special summoned except by removing from play 3 light fairy type monsters and one Dark Fiend monster in your graveyard. Once per turn, you can remove from play one face-up monster on the field. If you activate this effect, this card cannot attack during this turn. 2400 attack, 1500 defense. Boy. You know how Chaos Sorcerer is arguably already a version of Blackluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning that's had a little bit of a nerf? Arguably. They came out at the same time, more copies than one. This card is twice as expensive and twice as specific to try to bring out, which is really rough right off the get-go. But man, you get 100 more attack than Chaos Sorcerer. I know Chaos Sorcerer goes to 1, but this is not worth a replacement. It's just so expensive. The Chaos Emperor Dragon counterpart is Sky Scourge Nor Lyris. Dark Attribute, level 8, Fiend, effect. This card cannot be normal summoned or set. This card cannot be special summoned except by removing from play one light fairy monster and 3 dark fiend type monsters in your graveyard. You can pay 1000 life points to send all cards on the field and in both players' hands to the graveyard. Then you draw one card. 2400 attack, 1500 defense. And this card has one sort of decent application, and that's because Phantom of Chaos comes out, and then you can copy your Sky Scourge Nor Lyris, and it's not hard to get him in the graveyard because he is level 8, so he's a pretty good card target for trade-in, get some card advantage. You're going to throw it away anyway, but decks that play out of the graveyard, like Blackwings with Vayu, for instance, Zombies with Mizuki, Heroes with Miracle Fusion. There's a lot of ways that you can abuse this card, but I don't think it ever goes above Gimmick. I know that there's Nor Lyris Turbo decks, but I don't think that they're particularly good. I mean, didn't Sky Scourge Nor Lyris top? Yeah. I don't know. Do we put him in meta, or do we call him a gimmick? I'm going to put him in gimmick for now. I'm not arguing that the card hasn't seen meta success. It has. But I don't think it's for a good reason. Last Sky Scourge is Sky Scourge Invisil? Not Invincible, Invisil. Not Imbecile either. Earth Attribute, level 6, Fairy, effect. Why on earth is this guy Earth? He doesn't even synergize with either of the other two, which are Light and Dark, and Fairy and Fiend respectively. Imbecile is Earth, which is so weird. Anyway, Fairy, effect. This card cannot be special summoned. If you tribute summon this card by tributing one of the following monsters, this card gains the appropriate effect. Light Fairy type monster, negate the effects of all spell cards. So actually, I think this card is technically better than Spell Canceller in certain situations, because there's times where Spell Canceller can't actually negate. I think Spell Canceller is only cards on the field, only spells on the field. Or Dark Fiend type monster, negate the effects of all trap cards. 2200 attack, 1600 defense. And you gotta ask yourself, is it a replacement for Jinzo and or Spell Canceller? It's harder to get out. I don't understand why this card can't be special summoned, because you only get the effect if you tribute summon it anyway. How bad would it be if you could, special summon this out from the hand? With Valhalla, for instance? It's just very weird. I think the card's just too hard to get out for too little advantage. And if you see the hollow foil of Sky Scourge Imbecile, like only a little part of its torso is actually holographic, so it's a real letdown in that regard too. Next up, Goe, the Gallant Ninja. Ooh, we got new ninja support. Wind attribute, level 4, warrior, effect. When this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent must discard 2 random cards. So it's a double down Zalug. Your opponent must have at least 5 cards in their hand for you to activate and to resolve this effect. 1500 attack, 1000 defense. Wind warriors are sort of becoming a thing. We also got Chaos Rider Gustav and Lady Ninja Yay. So. Oh, and Hayabusa Knight. I think this card is sort of better designed than Don Zalug, to be honest. I think Don Zalug is not healthy for the game. And this requires your opponent to be in a pretty okay position, but it also does take out more cards. It also does have to get in for battle damage. It is a ninja card. Do you play this in your ninja deck? Maybe for cheese strategy? I like how the effect is dead most of the time when it would matter. Like outside of the first or second round, your opponent isn't likely to have 5 or more cards in their hand. I think it's filler. And man, Dark Worlds are in the game, so Goe against Dark Worlds, that's just a recipe for disaster. Next up, Mako, Master of Barriers. Light attribute, level 4, spellcaster, effect. You contribute this card, then target one face-up continuous spell or continuous trap on the field, destroy that target. 1700 attack, 600 defense. So, I believe it's Trench Sweeper. It might be Deep Sea Sweeper. Yeah, it is Deep Sweeper is the card that comes out later. It's a fish. You contribute this card, then target one spell/trap on the field, destroy that target. It's sort of like Exiled Force, but for spell and traps. And I don't think that card is particularly good. I know you can special summon it directly from the deck with Super Ancient Deep Sea King Coelacanth, which does make it significantly better in terms of toolbox nature. But I don't think that Mako quite hits that level. How many oppressive floodgates can Mako out? Specifically, how many oppressive floodgates can Mako out that Breaker the Magical Warrior can't? It does tribute itself, so if they're negating effects on the field, this card resolves in the graveyard, which could help to get over like skill drain, I guess. 1700 attack is okay. Mako outside skill drain at least, yeah. I think we'll put in good on release. I think it's a little bit narrow though. Next up, another entry in the Why Wasn't This in the Structure deck. Ryza the Storm Monarch. Wind attribute, level 6. Wing Beast, effect. If this card is tribute summoned, target one card on the field, place that target on the top of the deck. 2400 attack, 1000 defense. So this is targeting, but non-destruction removal. It's also non-destruction removal that can set your opponent back a turn because it denies their next draw, depending on, what you're putting back on top of the deck. If you're putting back a boss monster, like a main deck boss monster that's hard to get out, you could really put them pretty far behind. But if you're returning something to the extra deck, then you're not really getting that benefit. It's still pretty decent removal, though. This card was limited for quite some time. It was so strong. Man, the Wind Structure deck Just getting Ryza would have helped it so much. I don't know why Konami does this. John Konami, why didn't you think a few steps ahead? I don't know if Monarchs are playable, but Ryza is definitely a good option in Monarchs. I'll put it that way. Next up, Seismic Crasher. Earth attribute, level 3. Rock. Why rock? Rock effect. Twice per turn, you can send one face-up continuous spell or continuous trap you control to the graveyard to inflict 500 damage to your opponent. 1400 attack, 300 defense. I guess this card fits into Crystal Beasts. Or if you have Call the Haunted, for instance, it just hangs out on the field because the card, if you tribute the monster for Call of the Haunted, is just there. I think... where are you? I think the most interesting part of Seismic Crasher is that technically this isn't the original artwork. That it had a different proposed artwork at one point in time, but it was changed. Ooh! We got confirmation that the new Monarch support recently made it not good enough to make them meta now. Aww. Ryza is not worth playing with the new Monarch support from Duad, but he's consistently been one of the best tribute monsters in the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah. I think he stays in meta at one point then. But yeah. Interesting that they changed the artwork. I gotta say, Co-Money gotta show off the midriff for some reason. I think this card's just bad use of card advantage. He also looks like a psychic more than a rock. I don't know why cards that look like warriors turn into rocks, like the monks are rocks for some reason. I don't know. Next up, Dweller in the Depths. Earth attribute, level 3. Dragon effect. This card gains 300 attack for each continuous spell in your spell and trap zone. 1500 attack, 700 defense. I guess you could get this out with Giant Rat and then maybe have a decent beater. Let's see, 2 continuous spells means that this card is trading even with a Cyber Dragon, not bad. 3 means you're trading even with a Monarch. 4 continuous spells, which is really big commitment. Then you're starting to get over some things. It is attacking under Gravity Bind. This is not quite the playable Dweller. He'll come later. Yeah, Abyss Dweller, significantly better. I feel like this card is related to the dragon dwelling in the cave, but not quite there. I think this card is just filler. Next up, Magna/Dragon. Light attribute, level 6, Dragon, effect. You can send one face-up continuous spell you control to the graveyard to destroy one spell or trap your opponent controls. 2400 attack, 1200 defense. It is weird that these are like mini-boss monsters inside your Crystal Beast deck. It's good that you can use them for something. I like that. 2400 attack, it's on par with the Monarch. It's not once per turn, so you could be popping more spell and traps. And keep in mind, your Crystal Beasts in your spell and trap zones, yes, they are technically cards, but they're worth less in terms of card economy. They're sort of freebies. This is not a Crystal Beast, though, but I think it is acceptable in Archetype. Its counterpart is Gravicrush Dragon. Dark attribute, level 6, Dragon, effect. You can send one face-up continuous spell you control to the graveyard, then target one monster your opponent controls, destroy that target. 2400 attack, 1200 defense. Not a bad effect. It is targeting, it is destruction, but it is removal, and still not once per turn. I feel like Crystal Beasts have some decent tools so far. They get really decent support later on, but it might be too little too late. I sort of wish they had incorporated these two dragons into the deck a little bit better. Like, I don't know. Super Crystal Beast. Or Legendary Crystal Beast, maybe. Maybe do what the Six Samurai did. I think they made these pseudo bosses for Crystal Beast because they didn't get Rainbow Dragon until Tactical Evolution. Yeah, what is up with that? Why don't they get Rainbow Dragon this set? Like, you introduce the 7 Crystal Beasts, and like, I guess if you've never seen the anime, then you'll be like, oh, these monsters work together. They're pretty cool. And then you see the next set and it's, whoa! This is why there's 7 of them. This is what they're made for. I don't know. Mazir Deville is that card for me, where it's a secret rare that recontextualizes Pandemonium and makes the card even better. I think that's the best secret rare of all time, but that's me. But the best Crystal Beast boss monster is Haman, Lord of Striking Thunder. I can agree with that. It's not that hard to get Haman out. Why am I trying to move Soul of Fire? Next up, Soul of Fire. Normal spell, your opponent draws 1 card. Why? Select 1 Pyro monster from your deck and remove it from play. Inflict damage to your opponent equal to half the attack of the removed monster. If you activate this card, you cannot declare an attack this turn. This card is not Foolish Burial. It banishes, which is significantly worse. If this card set up your graveyard with Shell, or possibly like Volcanic Counter, for instance, it'd be a lot better off the bat. But it's still a -2 because you give your opponent a card and it skips your battle phase. And it doesn't do that much damage. I believe this card can do 1500 damage. Actually, there is a new one. It can do slightly more damage now. But that's just not worth it. Ah, this is the Spiritual Fire Art Kurenai from Wish. I can agree with that. I just don't understand why the card's so bad. Why are they making all the shiny cards so bad? Soul of Fire is funny in Duel Links because burn is halved, so Soul of Fire is one of the few cards that says a quarter. That is funny. I can't imagine the card being even worse. Next up, Crystal Beacon. Normal spell, special summon 1 Crystal Beast monster from your deck. Wow. 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 You must have 2 or more Crystal Beast monsters in your spell and trap zone to activate and to resolve this effect. Okay, I'm taking back 1 or 2 of those wows. But still, this is special summoning directly from the deck. You can get Sapphire Pegasus. You can go +1 off of Sapphire Pegasus, easily. That's pretty good. This works with the advanced Crystal Beasts, too. You can special summon those directly from the deck. This card's really good. We'll definitely put this in the meta category. Special summoning directly from the deck, one of the stronger effects in the game. It's not even that hard of a barrier. Wow. Beacon's amazing. And it's even better, though. It doesn't say, like, 2 Crystal Beasts with different names, so it can be 2 of the same. Wow. Bonds and Beacon plus Pegasus and Carbuncle was a 2-card Skull Dread before old support did more, but still good in Archetype, yeah. Next up, Rare Value. Normal spell. If you control 2 or more Crystal Beast cards in your spell and trap zone, your opponent chooses 1 Crystal Beast in your spell and trap zone, you send it to the graveyard, and if you do, you draw 2 cards. Wow! This is draw power. Keep in mind it's, like 2 for 2. Your opponent gets to decide which one. It sends, it doesn't destroy, so it doesn't trigger things like that. But it's really good in Archetype. It's not once per turn, although it might be hard to use multiple in a turn. But this is just draw power. This is acceleration. This is really good. Crystal Beast spells and traps are so ahead of time. These feel more like Zexal era support. Rare Value reads amazing, but is also always kind of disappointing. I think giving your opponent the agency is a little bad. I mean, they're going to send your Carbuncle to graveyard, and then, oh no, we can't do the Carbuncle play. Still, I think it's at least worth considering an archetype. I'll put it right here, to be fair. Next up, Crystal Blessing. Normal spell. Target up to 2 Crystal Beast monsters in your graveyard. Place those targets face up in your spell and trap zone as continuous spell. So not bad. It's sort of like Salvage. Sorta. It's like Crystal Shifted Salvage. But it's not bad. It's at least acceptable in Archetype, but I wouldn't be surprised if this showed up in meta builds of the deck. It's just free card advantage. It means that your Rare Value gets online. It means that your Crystal Beacon gets online. That's also good. Yeah. Next up, Crystal Abundance. Normal spell. Send 4 Crystal Beast Send 4 Crystal Beast cards from your spell and trap zone to the graveyard. Send as many cards on the field as possible to the graveyard. Then special summon as many Crystal Beast monsters as possible from your graveyard, up to the number of cards sent from your opponent's field to the graveyard by this card's effect. Wow, that's a lot of words. Ooh, you can run Crystal Blessing. But I forgot about Rainbow Bridge. That's true. By the way, I figured out why Violet Crystal from Legend of Blue Eyes is not considered a crystal card. It's because Rainbow Bridge searches crystal cards. The more you know. Also, Violet Crystal's not crystal in the Japanese card. That's why it doesn't work. But man, Crystal Abundance. Do you play a one of Crystal Abundance? Do you go for the big sack? It's mass special summoning, but it's a little hard to trigger. Also, it scales with the amount of cards that you're actually popping. It's so tempting, the idea of Crystal Abundance. Yeah, it's so tempting. I wonder if you can play this card with Destiny Hero Diamond Dude and skip that cost. And then just wipe the field and then special summon a whole bunch of monsters. Does Diamond Dude go in Crystal Beasts? Abundance also reads crazy, but that send up to is kind of a pain to set up. You can get the special summoning done easier today, but it's admittedly something that should be played around with. I can agree with that. Man, if this works with Diamond Dude, that's a little dumb. Especially for the era. Could you imagine you're running Stratos and you're running Diamond Dude and you're running Crystal Beasts? I don't know. It sounds funny. Next up, Crystal Promise. Normal spell. Target 1 Crystal Beast in your spell and trap zone. Special summon that target. Obviously, you want to choose Ruby Carbuncle because it comes out with friends. But yeah. Definitely worth the... Because they're not real resources, this is converting lower value card advantage into higher value card advantage. Board presence is always nice. This is 1 for 1. Or I guess it's technically a -1 since it's a spell, and it's taking one of your spells and putting it in the monster zone. But I don't count those as real cards in terms of card advantage. Crystal Beasts are weird. I wonder why this deck wasn't meta. Next up, Lucky Iron Axe. Equip spell. The equipped monster gains 500 attack. If this face-up card you control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect and sent to the graveyard, draw 1 card. I feel like this card was made with Gearfried the Iron Knight in mind, because Smoke Grenade of the Thief, if it just gets destroyed in general, it takes a card out of your opponent's hand, so Gearfried could trigger it, but Lucky Iron Axe doesn't. It's also interesting, to me at least, what they're trying to do with equip spells. This card sort of gives you back some card advantage, and it gives you a decent boost in attack while it's on the field, but you still run into the problem of you going -1 if your opponent pops your monster. There's no inherent protection. I think we're just going to put it in filler. I also think that Necklace of Command sort of did this already, but I guess Lucky Iron Axe gives you an actual benefit to your monster. Next up, Tornado. Quick play spell. Activate only when there are 3 or more cards in your opponent's spell and trap card zone. Destroy 1 card in your opponent's spell and trap card zone. So this card saw play because Mystical Space Typhoon was at 1. Otherwise, I don't think that this card would see play, but it is funny that Tornado is released alongside the Crystal Beasts, like they had to keep him in check. Like, oh no, Crystal Beasts are going to be too powerful. Next up, Wildfire. Quick play spell. Pay 500 life points. Destroy all Blaze Accelerator cards you control. And, if you do, destroy as many monsters on the field as possible. Then, special summon 1 Wildfire token. Pyro, Fire, level 3, 1000 attack, 1000 defense, and attack position. Your monsters cannot attack the turn you activate this card. Wildfire does a lot. Jace, looking back at all the nerfed MSTs is funny. Yeah. I like Wildfire quite a lot, and it definitely saw play. I think I've seen it at 1, but think about what Wildfire actually does. It gives you a token, it wipes the board, and all it costs is your monsters not being able to attack, but it's a quick play spell. So you can activate it during your opponent's turn. They commit lots of things to the board. You activate Wildfire, you wipe their board, you get a free token, you get to use it next turn, and it doesn't matter. You don't even get the attack problem. It does cost your Blaze Accelerator, though. Actually, not just your Blaze Accelerator. All your Blaze Accelerators. Wildfire was toyed with early on to pop bars, but just wasn't quite there. Very cool card, though. Yeah. The only time I've seen this card be meta is in contemporary Volcanic decks. The ones that are running Soul Exchange and Shell and Scattershot and Rocket. But still, it gets a shout out for that. Next up, Blaze Accelerator. Continue a spell. You can target 1 monster your opponent controls, send 1 Pyro monster with 500 or less attack from your hand to the graveyard, and if you do, destroy that target. Your monsters cannot attack the turn you activate this effect. It's not once per turn. It is targeting and it is destruction, but for the time, this is extremely decent. It's just pop, 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 pop. You get a shell goes to the graveyard, you get another shell, you go pop, pop. That's why it's got 2 shells in its artwork. You got Scattershot, you go pop, and then Scattershot goes pop, 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 pop. I don't think you can run Volcanics now, but too many cards resist destruction or like destruction, And it is targeting. Too many cards resist targeting. Before the time. Getting this free off of Rocket? Only need to play one? Pop, pop, pop. I don't quite understand why Tri-Blaze Accelerator exists, though. Continue a spell. Activate this card by sending one face-up Blaze Accelerator you control to the graveyard. During your main phase, you can target one monster your opponent controls, send one Pyro monster from your hand to the graveyard, and if you do, destroy that target. And if you do that, real funny wording, and if you do that, inflict 500 damage to your opponent. Your monsters cannot attack the turn you activate this effect. So you had to take your normal Blaze Accelerator, get rid of that, then you get your Tri-Blaze out. Your benefit is now it's just a Pyro monster in general, so I guess you could launch your Rockets, for instance, or your higher level Pyro monsters with the Tri-Blaze and then pop it, and you get 500 damage. Possibly you're causing some cards to miss their timing also, which might be another side benefit, because this one's dealing damage as the card's resolving. Newest Volcanic support gave them an FTK. They were a rogue deck with all the other Pyro support that came out around that time. The problem is that there is a rogue Volcanic deck playable today, but it's an FTK with that grass looks greener. Okay. And it's using Tri-Blaze Accelerator? Where do we even put that? Rogue deck, worth considering today. Meta at one point. Design mistake. I don't think this card is the design mistake, though. Are we okay with it being in Gimmick? I think this is also one of those situations where maybe this is not the problem card. That it's probably that grass that needs to get hit. Tri-Blaze was never really played, can go in bad. Okay, we'll put it in bad. Tri-Blaze is fine, maybe acceptable in Archetype. I don't know, I feel like you commit too much to it. We'll put it in bad. We might revisit that one too. Next up, Field Barrier. Continue a spell. Field spells on the field cannot be destroyed. Neither player can activate a new field spell card. You can only control one field barrier. Why would you need more than one? I guess you're really dedicated? Like, oh man, what if they pop my field barrier? Then they'll be able to pop my other field spell. With their one copy of MST and their tornadoes and their dust tornadoes and their mystical wind typhoons. And their beatboxing and their Donkey Kongs. So Field Barrier was played. It's interesting that it's got like the closed forest type effect, because field spells have had a game mechanic update. I'm not saying it's an errata to the mechanic, but you used to be able to have a field spell out, and then you could play another one, and then your old field spell would go to the graveyard. Or, if your opponent played their field spell, yours would go to the graveyard. So field spells sort of doubled as removal cards and very situational events. Field Barrier is really good even today. What are you protecting with Field Barrier? Necro Valley? Mystic Mine? Okay. Closed Forest? I guess just denying your opponent a field spell might actually be pretty decent too. I guess Field Barrier is a tiny little floodgate. Yeah, Field Barrier protected Mystic Mine. Is there anything funny you could do with Field Barrier and set rotation? Or Demise of the Land, or there's some other cards. There probably is. I like how Field Barrier just prevents destruction. So you can still bounce the card to hand. You could return it to the deck. You can set it face down, probably. I don't know. Field Barrier sorta protects it, but it doesn't protect from everything. Next up, A-Cell Breeding Device. Continuous spell. During each of your standby phases, put one A counter on one face-up monster your opponent controls. Man, aliens getting A counters is hard. This card, I guess, is continuous A counters each turn, but it's only one of them, and only once during the standby phase. So you gotta wait a full round before this card does anything. I don't know, I feel like if this was a continuous trap, it'd be a little bit better because then you could surprise your opponent. A counters are decently important to the archetype, but I don't think this is how you accumulate them. I think we're just gonna put it in bad. Next up, ooh, aliens get a field spell. This must be the way to gain A counters, right? Otherworld, the A zone. Field spell, if your opponent monster battles an alien monster you control, the opponent's monster loses 300 attack and defense during damage calculation only. This is the A counter text that's on like half the aliens, but they decided to make an entire field spell to give you the effect that half the aliens already have. I don't understand. I feel like this is a Band-Aid solution and not a very good one. That they should have just gone back on all the alien monsters and given them the A counter text, and it would have removed the need for Otherworld the A zone. When we get Venom Swamp is significantly better. But man, Otherworld the A zone. Also, not that it matters, but you're in the set where we introduce field spell searching cards that discard themselves. How hard would it have been to have an alien monster that discards itself, adds the A zone to hand? Then it wouldn't be so bad. I mean, you get terraforming still. It's not like this card is hard to get out. It's just this card does what your other cards should be doing anyway. What's with the slow trickle of alien support over a half dozen sets? Yep. They made A counters way harder to spread compared to Venom counters. Yep. But what if you had 3 A-Cell breeding devices? Yeah. I hear this is a good set. Maybe. Wow, it's the volcanic guy. Oh, big fan of volcanics. It's not every day your hero stops in for a YouTube live chat. I gotta check out you, I guess. Yeah, I think this set's pretty okay. Oh man, I wish aliens just got this effect as default. Next up, Ancient City Rainbow Ruins. For some reason, it's not a crystal spell. Field spell. You must have this many Crystal Beast monsters in your spell and trap card zone to activate and resolve these effects. 1+. This card cannot be destroyed by card effects. 2+. Once per turn, including your opponent's, you can have the battle damage you take. 3+. When a spell or trap is activated, you can send one Crystal Beast monster you control to the graveyard, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. 4+. Once per turn during your main phase, you can draw one card. 5+. Once per turn during your main phase, you can target one Crystal Beast monster in your spell and trap zone, special summon that target. I don't know why I said 5+. It's only 5. You can't get more than 5. There's no secret expansion. I don't think there were any Crystal Beast cards in your pendulum zones. Maybe there were at one point where you could get more than 5, back when pendulum zones were their own zones. Ancient City is a field spell decades ahead of its time. It's wild that they gave a GX archetype a field spell this good. We'll go over the effects. 1, this card gets inherent protection. That's not bad. 2, this card halves vandal damage, which is fine. It's an okay plus. 3, though, is when it starts getting really good. Spell and trap negation. Pretty strong effect. It does cost you a resource, though. 4, you get a free card every turn. That's a +1 for free. And then the 5 effect, which ironically will put you down back to 4, is you can get out Ruby Carbuncle and you can just special summon a whole bunch of monsters. It's a free Crystal Promise. Okay, they did make Crystal Beast Pendulum support, but those cards aren't Crystal Beast monsters. Thankfully. It would have made Rainbow Ruins significantly better. I think we're just going to say it's acceptable in Archetype, though. I don't think it's that much higher. But man, you get 5 different effects, 4 of which are decent to really strong. 1 of which is okay. The battle damage one is okay. There's a card called Damage Diet, which I think does the same thing as Rainbow Ruins. Honestly, great field spell. What it needs is a field spell searcher. But we got Terraforming, so it's okay. Next up, Triggered Summon. Normal trap. Activate only when a monster is special summoned to your opponent's side of the field. Each player special summons 1 level 4 or lower monster from their hand. When do you want to use this card? It sort of reminds me of Familiar Knight, where it special summons from both players' hands. It gives your opponent field presence, though, and it's a -1. And it's a little bit difficult to use at the time. If this card were a little faster, maybe you could special summon out like a barrier statue or something to troll your opponent. But it's a trap card, which means you have to set it and then wait around. I know the Butler exists in Labyrinth that can make this card faster, it's just not consistent. I think most of the time you're better off running your hand traps than Triggered Summon. Also, Arrival Appears is in the game. I think this card's just worse than Arrival Appears in a lot of circumstances. Next up, Last Resort. This card confused me a lot because, like, Last Resort is the thing that you resort to when you have no other options, right? I don't think that that's what the card is trying to communicate. I think, and this is based on what I've read, it's saying that space is the final frontier, therefore the last frontier, and that they are creating a resort, like a destination vacation, on the final frontier, making it Last Resort. It doesn't feel like Hope for Escape, which, you know, that is a desperation card. There's an even crazier version of Hope for Escape now that you can draw even more cards, but don't worry about that. I think what this card is trying to do is communicate that maybe Ancient City Rainbow Ruins is on the moon? Weird lore. Activate only when your opponent's monster declares an attack. You can select 1 Ancient City Rainbow Ruins from your deck and activate it. If your opponent had an active field spell card when this card was activated, they can draw 1 card. Ooh, it's much better if they don't draw that card, for the record. I don't know why they get an instant rebate on this. I think this card has just been power crept by Metaverse, Demise of the Land, set rotation. I guess the benefit is maybe you could surprise your opponent with Rainbow Ruins. It's just too specific. Cards that only work with one card usually end up very bad. Next up, Crystal Raigeki. Normal trap. Send one Crystal Beast monster from your spell and trap card zone to the graveyard, then target one monster your opponent controls. Destroy that target. It's sort of like Raigeki Break, but you're not getting the discard cost. You are trading a resource, but it's a low value resource. 1-for-1 removal, and it can hit spell traps or monsters. So really decent in archetype, but I wouldn't put it much higher. Crystal Beasts, mediocre monsters, but some really good spell and trap support. Next up, Volcanic Recharge. Normal trap, return up to 3 volcanic monster cards from your graveyard to your deck. I never understood this card until maybe recycling Shell or recycling Scattershot possibly could be the reason why this shuffles into the deck. But we get Pot of Avarice. I know Pot of Avarice gets banned, but Pot of Avarice does this only better. This is a -1 to set cards back into the deck. When we get Gladiator Beasts, I believe it is Gladiator Beast Respite that does this. It takes 3 of your Gladiator Beasts, shuffles them into the deck, and then you draw 1 card. So it's significantly better. And it's a spell card, so it's faster. I think Recharge is just a -1. This isn't exactly Flame Recovery. Oh yeah, Flame Recovery is significantly better. I think it just escapes very bad though. I can see what the card is going for, but I don't think it's going for something significantly good. We also got Transmigration Prophecy, which I know that card also goes to 1, but that card doubles as Graveyard Disruption to make your opponent's cards fizzle, and can be used to recycle your floaters. I guess Volcanic Recharge does give you the upside of getting all 3 of your scatter shots back, but it doesn't add 1 to hand or anything. You gotta hard draw them. Yeah. Volcanic Recharge is outclassed by Royal Firestorm Troops. Royal Firestorm Troops. Definitely. That card comes out in a few sets, I believe. Next up, Terrible Deal. So, there's another card that we talked about when Dark Worlds came out. It was called Dark Deal. This is a parody of that card, so keep that in mind. Normal trap. Activate only by paying 1,000 life points when your opponent activates a spell card. Your opponent discards 1 random card. So Dark Deal was really good because it prevented the effect of your opponent's card. So it was disruption, and it triggered your Dark World monsters. Terrible Deal doesn't do that. It causes your opponent to discard, which I guess this is 1-for-1 hand disruption. Woo. It's not targeted. They get the choice. Oh, no, they don't get the choice. It's random. It's nowhere near as good as Delinquent Duo, and Delinquent Duo was a design problem. I don't think it's terrible. I guess it is a terrible card. Artwork's funny, though. It's, I believe it's the Knight from Confiscation and Skull Servant. Or maybe it's a King of the Skull Servants. You can say, you could say it's a terrible deal. It's not that bad, though. 1,000 life points, get rid of an opponent's card. I guess when we compare it to the Forceful Sentry, it is significantly worse, but the Forceful Sentry was a design mistake, so. Next up, Breakthrough. with an exclamation mark. Normal trap, select one 6 samurai monster you control. If the selected monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle, Great Shogun Shien and all 6 samurai monsters you control can attack your opponent directly during the battle phase of this turn. Why does it only say one battle phase of this turn? What if they activate an unfortunate report? Then they can't attack directly in the second battle phase? They didn't consider an unfortunate report this time. Or weather report, I think is the other one. Feels more win. I can't read. Feels win more. I agree with that. All cards should state their viability in their name. The epitome of a win more card. Yeah. I don't think you need it. I think it's pretty filler. Next up, Backs to the Wall. Pay life points so that you only have 100 left. Special summon as many 6 samurai monsters with different names from your graveyard as possible. You cannot special summon a monster with the same name as a monster you already control. Every time I read special summon as many monsters as possible, it's exciting because you're thinking like there's a lot of good cards that special summon a lot of monsters at the same time. This is an all-in card though. This is your final gambit. This is your hoping that your opponent doesn't have Sparks or Gaga Cowboy. You need to finish the game this turn. It's sort of like the pact cards in Magic, where you get like Pact of Negation, that if you don't do something in your next turn, you lose. You could say that this is your last resort, yeah? I suppose it's Dinomorphous support if you squint. I think I want to put it here. I want to put it here so bad. It's just that this card is living on a razor's edge. It reads really well, though. Too many random cards have burn effects for Backs to the Wall to be good. That's true. I can honestly see a use case. I can too, and that's the problem. We got a tier for that. Okay. As many as possible. It just gets me excited every time I read it. Next up, we have Introduction to Gallantry. Normal trap. Activate only when your opponent has 5 or more cards in their hand. Your opponent discards 1 random card. What is with this set and discarding cards? It just feels bad. This is sort of like Terrible Deal, except it's got a much more difficult situation where you can activate it. I guess the idea is you go first, you set this card, your opponent draws to 6, you activate Introduction to Gallery, they lose 1 of their cards, but you lost 1 of your cards. Is it really worth it 1 for 1? And it's a random card. At least this one doesn't cost you 1,000 life points, but I'd say that this card is dead 90% of the game. I guess you could argue Morphing Jar and Cyber Jar, but those cards get limited, so Cyber Jar gets flat out banned. And Morphing Jar goes to 1 for like a really long time, but it might have been banned at 1.2. Why not another Gallant card with Secrets of the Gallant? Normal trap. Select 1 normal monster you control. When the selected monster inflicts battle damage to your opponent this turn, your opponent discards 2 random cards. Why does this card work this way? Like, it's random normal monster support, but I don't think it's healthy for the game. This is normal monster supporting Delinquent Duo, sorta. I guess it's better than Delinquent Duo because it doesn't cost life points and your opponent doesn't get any choice. But keep in mind, Dark Worlds are not just in the metagame, or not just in the game, but they're pretty rampant in the metagame. I'm glad this card isn't better than it is, because hand disruption really one of the worst parts of the game. Like, it's my least favorite part of GOAT format, to be honest. It's a drop-off you can never use. Trap Dust Shoot is also better, yeah. This is part of the Gallant lore from Goe Goe. I have no idea what the Goe Goe ninja lore is, for the record. I've never played the N64 game. Next up, Radiant Mirror Force. Wow, we get another Mirror Force. We haven't gotten one since Dark Mirror Force. And I don't think we'll get another one until Quaking or Rippling or Blazing? I don't remember which one came out first. But new Mirror Force just dropped. Let's see what it does. Normal Trap. Activate only when your opponent declares an attack while they control 3 or more attack position monsters. Destroy all attack position monsters your opponent controls. It's just Mirror Force, but worse. On the other hand, Mirror Force is really good. I don't know why they called it Radiant Mirror Force, where it's like a weakened variant, attenuated Mirror Force. Radiant makes it sound like it's even better than Mirror Force. I think this card is honestly filler. Are you getting more value out of Radiant Mirror Force? It is a comeback card. I like that. It sort of reminds me of Pineapple Blast, where the card is just a little bit too fair. Radiant Mirror Force isn't too bad since Mirror Force was still limited at the time. I can agree with that. I guess we'll put it here. I just feel like the amount of time where Radiant Mirror Force meets its condition means you're in a pretty bad position already. On the other hand, 6 Samurai are special summoning 3 monsters in the same turn. Well, they normal summon one of their samurai, special summon Grandmaster, special summon Great Shogun Shien, and then I guess you protect yourself with Radiant Mirror Force. We'll say it's good on release. We'll put it there. Next up, we got I don't know, different variants of Robin Goblin and Robin Zombie, but significantly worse. I've seen it said that this is the aftermath of the Robin cards. They stole your stuff and now they're selling it back to you. We got Hard Sellin' Goblin, Continuous Trap. Each time a monster you control inflicts battle damage to your opponent, return 1 card in your opponent's spell and trap card zone to its owner's hand. That is really bad effect. Keep in mind, Robin Goblin was ripping cards out of your opponent's hand. Really good, strong card. Not healthy for the game, but strong in terms of free card advantage every turn. It was a win more card, but it really punished your opponent. But this card's useless. Like, we have Spiritualism in the game, which can't be negated, does the same thing, and is a turn faster, and doesn't require you to do battle damage. This card's just bad Spiritualism most of the time, I think. I guess it can hit face downs, but why give your opponent the card advantage? Also, I just noticed Warrior of Atlantis is good on release, but I saw it, but it saw some play in the newer Umi support that came out. Okay. We can put it here. It's not, Hard Selling Goblin isn't giving your opponent an advantage because Hard Selling Goblin's still on the field. You're not going -1 with it. It's just, I don't know. I guess it's better than Malfunction and Forced Back and Goblin out of the frying pan, that's the other one. Let's see what zombie does. Continuous trap. Each time a monster you control inflicts battle damage to your opponent, select one card from your opponent's graveyard and return it to the bottom of their deck. Why would you want to do that? I guess this is graveyard disruption, but we got DD Crow in the game. Putting a resource back in your opponent's deck isn't a great idea. I guess you can disrupt zombie strategies, but what if you're putting a floater back in their deck? You don't want to do that. Oh, you thought that hard-selling goblin returned a spell or trap from grave to their hand? Man, that'd be even worse. That would be giving your opponent free card advantage. It makes sense canonically, maybe? I don't know. I think the zombie... We just have much better graveyard disruption because we got the Transmigration Prophecy and we got DD Crow. And I think that's enough. And you don't have to do battle damage for those. Great that the strategy that hard-selling zombie hurts most is zombies. Yep. He's a traitor. Activating after inflicting battle damage is way too late. Yep. Mass Hypnosis is the reason that optimizing everything plays aliens. I like this card too. Continuous Trap. Activate only while you control an alien monster. Select and take control of up to 3 of your opponent's monsters that each have 8 counters on them. This card is destroyed during the end phase of the turn it is activated. That effect is a little bit hard to activate, but think about it this way. If you take one monster, this card is sort of like Brain Control. It didn't cost you life points, and you can do whatever you want with the monster. You can tribute it, you can attack with it, you could synchro or link or Xyz with it. It's your monster. And that's the low case, is when you're only taking one. If you're going +3 with Mass Hypnosis, there are some serious damage that you can do. This card is insanely pushed compared to every other alien card at the time. It's still worth playing in Aliens today. Aliens have so many cards that steal an opponent's monster. I don't know if I'd say so many. I guess if you're counting the Interplanetary Invader A, that's one. You got the Creature Swap clone, that's one. You got Mass Hypnosis, and you got Brainwashing Beam. Modern aliens have more quick play options to distribute A counters whenever historical aliens would need Planet Pollutant Virus. Yep. Planet Pollutant Virus, definitely the core card in the deck. We'll put it here. Do aliens like this card? Definitely. What other card archetypes like it? Probably. Next up, Gem Flash Energy. Continuous Trap. Not a crystal spell or trap, by the way. During each of your standby phases, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the number of face-up continuous spell cards on the field times 300. It is a trap, so you set it. You wait till your draw phase, and then I guess you activate it, and then you can surprise your opponent with some damage. Okay. It just doesn't do that much damage each turn. Is this giving Crystal Beasts an alternate win condition? Sort of. It's definitely better than Seismic Crasher, because this isn't getting rid of your resources. But I guess, optimistically, the ceiling for this card is 1200 damage each round, and that's not bad, but it also prevents you from activating other cards. It is recurring burn damage that doesn't cost you card advantage, which is true. Also, sort of triggers with, Dark Room of Nightmare. This thing went crazy in Snake Eyes? Really? You could actually play Gym Flash Energy in Snake Eyes? How does that work? Next up, Firewall. Why is this card not in the Fire Structure deck? Continuous Trap. When your opponent declares a direct attack, you can banish one Pyro monster in your graveyard, negate the attack. Once per turn, during your standby phase, pay 500 life points, or destroy this card. It gives you the choice. Some effects are mandatory. This one gives you the choice. I think this is an okay trade-off. Yes, you're depleting your graveyard, but you are negating damage. When is this card better than Threatening Roar? Not often. But it can further your win condition if your win condition is Dimension Fusion or Return from the Different Dimension, which is reasonable. I think this card is just too late. Like when we had Tornado Wall in the Water Structure deck, if they had Firewall in the Fire Structure deck, it would make way more sense thematically. It'd make them more symmetrical. Why is this card printed so late? It's also only Pyro-type monsters, so there's some problems with that too. Honestly, this card might be worse than Fairy Box. When you think about like continuous traps that stop damage, Fairy Box is only 50% effective, but it has the same cost of 500 life points each turn. Might be outclassed by Fairy Box. The next several cards are from a OCG only structure deck. For context, that's why they're all like dark themed. We sort of get this dark structure deck later. We get the newer version with Lair of Darkness, and of course the different Diabolos King of the Abyss, the upgraded boss variant, when we get the reimagined structure deck. But the OCG got their own dark structure deck, and it was really cool because you got Crush Card, Deck Devastation, and Eradicator Epidemic Virus all in the same deck, which is really strong. They got all 3 virus cards at the same time. It's a little nuts. I wish we got that. I think it was really hard to get Crush Card in the States for a while, but they could just get it in a structure deck. Anyway, what does Diabolos King of the Abyss do? Dark Attribute, level 7, Dragon effect, cannot be special summoned. If you tribute summon this card, the tributes must be dark. Cannot be tributed by card effects while face up on the field. This is why the retrained Darkus Diabolos card is immune to kaijus. They just sort of carried over this effect. Not bad. It also prevents you from, I guess, ectoplasm destroying your own monster. Once per turn during your opponent's draw phase before their normal draw, look at the top card of their opponent's deck, and if you do, place that card on either the top or bottom of the deck. 2000 attack, 1000 defense. It's a filter effect, so it's virtual card advantage, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily good virtual card advantage. Denying your opponent an important draw sounds good, but you don't know what they're going to draw after that. So you might be, taking away a resource and then giving them a better one. It's sort of like an evil version of Card Trader. This card's also real hard to get out. And I just realized it does have like anti-synergy with the virus cards since it can't be tributed. Well, Diaballs also can't be tributed by your own virus cards, so this card seems quite bad. Yeah, anti-synergy. Woo! Next up, Lich Lord, King of the Underworld. Dark Attribute, level 6, Zombie, effect. If you tribute summon this card, the tribute must be dark. If this card is tributed by a card effect and sent to the graveyard, add this card from the graveyard to your hand. 2400 attack, 1200 defense. It really makes you think. Like, this guy is the perfect ritual fodder, because rituals will tribute it for a card effect. You just get them back over and over again, and your rituals aren't nearly as minus. The downside is it only works on level 6 or lower, and certain ritual cards like Contract for the Abyss, for instance, require exact level. But this is free ritual fodder. That's pretty strong. Of course, it works with virus cards too. This is a zombie. You can special summon it from graveyard with things like Mizuki, too. I just can't think of a good use for it is the problem. It sounds so good, but I don't think it quite fits. I almost wish it were a higher level, like a level 8. Then you could tribute it for more cards. But as it stands, it's okay, I think. It's a shame they forgot to draw a background on this guy, though. Next up, we have Prometheus, King of the Shadows. Dark Attribute, level 4, Fiend, effect. When this card is normal summoned, banish one or more dark monsters from your graveyard. And if you do, this card gains 400 attack for each until the end of this turn. 1200 attack, 800 defense. Man, this card's sort of all in. Again, if you're playing Return from the Different Dimension, like Return Dad doesn't exist yet, but a proto-return deck, that's not a bad effect. This card was used in meta dark decks when we get the Phantom Darkness in 2 sets. It might be 3 sets. Tactical Evolution, Gladiators, Assault, Phantom Darkness. I think 3 sets from now. I have seen this in meta deck lists at that time, but I think the card has definitely dropped off. And of course, this card synergizes with the virus cards because you could pump this guy up big enough to tribute for a virus. That's a theme for the deck. Next up, Mist Archfiend. Dark Attribute, level 5, Fiend, effect. You can normal summon this card without tributing. Once per turn, during the end phase, if this card was summoned this way, destroy this card, and if you do, take 1000 damage. 2400 attack. It's sort of like Cyber Dragon, 0 defense. Mist Archfiend pops itself, so it works with Pandemonium. It is only level 5. I sort of wish it were level 6, then you could find more targets with Pandemonium. Deals 1000 damage to you, but you can get over things with it. And of course, the intended route is with the virus cards. Tribute this card. I used to use Lich Lord for fun as budget tribute fodder for Cyber Angel Idaten and Benton. Yeah. It just reads so well. I think you play Mist Archfiend in your Archfiend deck, maybe. At the very least, this might be something that you get out off of your level 6 or higher Archfiends from Pandemonium. Because Pandemonium's just such a good toolbox card. Next up, Plague Wolf. Dark Attribute, level 3, Zombie, effect. Once per turn, you can make this card's attack become double its original attack until the end of this turn. Once per turn, during the end phase, if this effect was activated, destroy this card. 1000 attack, 1000 defense. It's like Karate Man, except zombie shifted. I wonder if this card's related to Plague Spreader Zombie. I don't know. Plague cards. Of course, this card, starts with 1000 attack, so it's a crush card target. Goes up to 2000 attack, so it's a deck devastation target. So it's pretty flexible in that regard. Getting this card off Mizuki, that's not bad. Destroying itself during the end phase, though, not great. Unless you're creature swapping to your opponent. Then that's pretty decent. Next up, Recurring Nightmare. Normal spell. Target 2 dark monsters with 0 defense in your graveyard. Add those targets to your hand. This card is Dark Salvage Asterisk. So Salvage is 1500 or less attack, water monsters. And Salvage is really good in a lot of decks. It's just free card advantage. It recycles a lot of monsters that special summon themselves from hand, your combo extenders, even some of your hand traps Salvage can get back. Recurring Nightmare can also get back, certain cards. It's a more narrow pool, but that doesn't make it worse. Important cards like Dark World Snow, Underlight of the Dark World, that card has 0 defense, for instance, which is really strong. I think this is a tricky card to build around, but when the stars line up and your deck could use a combination of recurring card advantage and specifically has good targets for it, yeah. Does this get any good hand traps or extenders? That's a good question. Let's look it up. I believe this gets Jester Confi. That's an extender. You can get Arima the Wicked Warden out. That's good. It looks like this card hits 400 different cards. A lot of Archfiends, to tell the truth. Get Baby Spider back. It gets Battle Fader. That's a hand trap. It gets back Blackwing Blizzard. That's good. Gets back Gofu. It gets back Vayu. Except you want Vayu in the graveyard. Gets back a whole bunch of your different DD cards, like your different dimension demon cards. Danger Tsukinocho, Dark Angel, the 2 Dark Spirit cards. Edgent Scythe. Endless Decay, that's a combo extender. End of Anubis. Fallen of Albaz. Gets back Fusion Parasite. A bunch of your gimmick puppets. It gets back Glow Up Bloom. like all the Infernities, it looks like. A couple of your Labyrinth cards. Works well with the Yubel deck. Gets back Relinquished. Most of your Steel Swarm cards, for what that's worth. A whole bunch of TG cards like Warwolf. Warwolf is a combo extender. Okay. Nothing jumps out at me, but it's still a good card. Yeah. Goes Hard in Yubel from Hamed Mirza. Yeah. So I think it got played in the past, but is it worth considering today? I think it's worth considering today. At the very least, getting back, Danger Tsuchinoko and Snow in your Dark World deck. That's some pretty decent card advantage. Next up, we got another attempt at fixing equip spells. Sword of Dark Rites. Equip only to a dark monster. It gains 400 attack. When the equipped monster is tributed and this card is sent to the graveyard, return this card to the hand. I guess the idea is boost your monster up to that threshold and then tribute it with your virus cards and then get this card back to hand. It doesn't have to be tributed by card effect or for the tribute summon of a monster. Oh, but wait a second. I think this card can miss the timing. Because it's a when effect, not an if effect. If this card just doesn't work the way that's supposed to, then this card is terrible. Next up, Eradicator Epidemic Virus. Normal trap, tribute. Tribute one dark monster with 2500 or more attack and declare one type of card, either spell or trap. Look at your opponent's hand, all spells/traps they control, and all cards they draw until the end of the third turn after this card's activation, and destroy all cards of that declared type. This card has been meta at different points in the game. It combos really well with cards like Grapha, big monsters that special summon themselves and are dark. Feels like a design mistake. Ooh. Like Crush Card was definitely a design mistake because it got effect changing errata, but Eradicator Epidemic Virus hasn't. I think this card is way different now. Unless you're going against Labyrinth, for instance, you're probably never saying trap. So reasonably, this is look at your opponent's hand, rip out all the spells that they have, and deny them spell cards for the next 3 turns. You go -2 for that effect is not bad. There might be some jank that you could do with special summoning a Bestial from your hand and then activating Eradicator Epidemic Virus. You might only be able to do it with deck devastation now that I think of it. and activating one of the virus cards directly from your hand with the Labyrinth Butler. I've thought about that, but that's pretty janky and requires multiple cards, and it's pretty hard to pull off. Does shutting your opponent out of spell cards win you the game? Possibly. This card's definitely oppressive, but I wouldn't say that it's more oppressive than Secret Village of the Spellcasters, which just turns off spell cards completely, or even like Spell Canceller. It's a lot harder to use than either of those cards. And back in the day, you could just fumble and call the wrong thing, and the impact to your opponent would be significantly lower. I don't know. I can see it being a design mistake, just because how much I dislike hand disruption, but I didn't put the Gallant cards in design mistake just on principle. Next up, we're moving into our Champion Pack promos. First up is Magicians Unite. It's got the Spellbinding Circle in the TCG artwork, and it's got the Seal of Solomon in the OCG artwork. Normal spell. If you control 2 or more attack position spellcaster monsters, target one of them. Its attack becomes 3,000 until the end of this turn. Also, for the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, other spellcaster monsters you control cannot attack. I think this effect is pretty weak. That there's ways to boost up your attack significantly more, like Megamorph for instance. Less selective, doesn't require you to have multiple spellcasters on the field, doesn't prevent your other monsters from attacking. I think this is an anime card where they care way more about big number, and they just need to get over their opponent's monster. I don't know what they're getting over with only 3,000 attack points. I don't know. Your opponent's despair from the dark, I guess. I think the cards doesn't work particularly well. Also, we have Rear Ryoku, which I bring up a lot, but that takes half the attack from one monster and puts it on another monster, but you can target your opponent's monsters with it, which makes it significantly better in terms of swing, in terms of attack points. Magicians Unite, just situational and less good. Eradicator would probably be moved to worth considering today. Labyrinth uses it, and it's still in the metagame. That's fair. But is it a design mistake, is the question. Next up, Fairy Dragon, which for some reason I thought was in the game. I guess I'm thinking Petite Dragon sort of looks similar, sort of does the same role. I don't know. Fairy Dragon definitely looks like a squirrel to me. I don't know if it's just me. It's got the little ears and the eyes on the sides of its head. It looks like a squirrel. Maybe it's just me, though. Wind Attribute, level 4, Dragon. This beautiful dragon spirit harbors hidden strength. 1100 attack, 1200 defense. Not much hidden strength. I thought this card was already in the game. The only reason it's significant is its material for some of the McDonald's promo fusion monsters. But that's it. Amazoness of the Seas, I think, is the other material that you need. That also got released in a tournament pack. We're moving on to our special edition cards with Elemental Hero Ocean. Oh, actually, no. This is a jump promo. Ocean. Water Attribute, level 4, Warrior, effect. Once per turn, during your standby phase, you can target one hero monster you control or in your graveyard. Return that target to the hand. 1500 attack, 1200 defense. This is free card advantage. It is during your standby phase, so getting this guy to survive a turn can be tricky. On the other hand, it's 1500 attack. I don't think you're running Mother Grizzly as an attribute floater, but that is an option. I think reasonably going +1 every round is really good. And of course, this is material for Terra Firma when we get Woodsman. This card was definitely played in hero decks, but I think it's too slow for modern hero decks. Man, Stratos, Ocean, and Skyscraper 2. Hero decks are looking really strong in terms of just card economy. Not to mention, they got a lot of consistency because they got Reinforcement of the Army and Emergency Call, and of course Stratos a second time. Man, Heroes got it rolling. They got some comeback potential with Miracle Fusion. They get combo extenders with Bubble Man, more draw power. Heroes are great. Ocean was good in Hero Beat. Being Absolute Zero and Acid Material is so good. That is true. You don't just have Bubble Man. He's the other water monster, I guess. Next up, Winged Rhinos. Wind attribute, level 4, Beast Warrior, effect. During either player's turn, when a trap card is activated, except during the damage step, you can return this face-up card from the field to your hand. 1800 attack, 500 defense. When would you want to do this? I guess you summon Winged Rhinos and your opponent... Aha! Trap Hole. And then you return your Rhinos to hand, but then you've already used up your normal summon for the turn. I guess your opponent goes -1, but you still have no board presence. Winged Rhinos was honestly a good beater for doing removal. I guess it's sorta immune to Sakuretsu Armor, Trap Holes, Torrential Tribute. I'm trying to think if there's anything else in the metagame. Oh, for dodging removal. Thank you. I think we'll just put it in good on release. It's decent. It's a little bit weird that they chose Beast Warrior over Winged Beast, but I guess, you know, it's running up to hit you with that stick. There might be a niche situation where this card is used in Fire Fist because it's Beast Warrior and level 4. And, you know, benefiting from returning itself to hand. I don't know. To me, it just reads a little bit worse than Wild Heart. He's a Strike Ninja side grade. I like that explanation. Man, I miss Strike Ninja. Next up, Phantom Beast, Rock Lizard. Hey, it's new Phantom Beast card. Dark attribute, level 7, Beast Warrior effect. If you're tributing a Phantom Beast monster or Gazelle, the king of mythical beasts, this card might get an errata one day because I believe Gazelle now treats itself as a Phantom Beast card. This card can be normal summoned with 1 tribute. When this card destroys a monster by battle, inflict 500 damage to your opponent. When this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card effect, inflict 2,000 damage to your opponent. 2,200 attack, 2,000 defense. So it's level 7 naturally, but sometimes it's a 1 tribute monster. You do a little bit of burn damage when you get an attack off, but you do a lot of burn damage if this card is destroyed by an opponent's card effect. I'm not saying it's good, but do you play this in your Phantom Beast deck? I think by the time the Phantom Beasts get critical mass, this card is too slow. But 2,000 is a big number. Like, that's a lot of damage on one card. Next up, we got Green Baboon, Defender of the Forest. Earth attribute, level 7, Beast effect. If this card is in your hand or graveyard, when a face-up beast-type monster you control is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, except during the damage step, you can pay 1,000 life points, special summon this card. 2,600 attack, 1,800 defense. Do you play this in Fire Kings, maybe? Like, I know it's off attribute, but it could be a free extender in Fire Kings, to be honest. This card has definitely had a lot of historical meta relevance. I think it was at 1 for a while. It's a really strong board presence, recurring card advantage. We get Dragon Ice in a few sets, and this card is sort of similar to Dragon Ice, except better. I wish we had this, maybe not in Go format, that'd probably be too strong, but a little bit earlier in the game. Of course, it did have a meta impact on release, so I guess it's appropriately timed, but man, could you imagine a Beast Beat deck that's playing Green Baboon and like a whole bunch of floaters and then Behemoth, King of the Beasts? Or Behemoth, King of the Animals? That sounds fun. But yeah, this card was a menace. You just can't get rid of it. Green Baboon caused a ruling change with special summoning from hand. Ooh. What was... Did it get errata, or did it change an entire mechanic in the game? Okay, so Green Baboon actually has had errata. And it says, except during the damage step now. So it didn't used to say that. And that is a significant nerf to the card. Is Green Baboon technically a design mistake? That's like a super mild one, if it is, though. Next up, Dread Scythe Harvester. Wind attribute, level 8, insect effect. You contribute 1 insect type monster to have this card gain 500 attack until the end of this turn. 2,300 attack, 1,600 defense. So, tribute a monster, and it's still worse than a Blue Eyes. Tribute 2 insects, and you're finally beating up at the level of Superconductor Tyranno. I don't think there's a way to just get your monsters back. Get your insects back and give this guy even more attack points. I think this card's just very bad. At least you can special summon it out from the deck with Insect Imitation on a level 7. But it's just so underwhelming. Didn't start out with enough attack points, or it doesn't gain enough attack points per tribute. Even still, you're burning card advantage for no reason. Make big number. I have no idea why Cybertech Alligator is in Jaden's structure deck. It confuses me because this isn't a Jaden card. He's never once used it in the anime. Also, this card came out way earlier in the OCG. I don't understand why it took so long in the TCG. This card was, not a contemporary to Summon Skull, but pretty close to its release. Okay. Clarification from Jace. You aren't allowed to activate 2 copies of Green Baboon from the same activation condition, for example. That applies to all monsters that special summon themselves from hand ever since its release. Ooh! I didn't even think about that you could change 2 copies of Green Baboon at the same time. That is dirty. Okay. I think we're going to say that Green Baboon is a mild design mistake then. The other thing about Cybertech Alligator is we've seen this card before. It's in the artwork for Summoner's Art. So it's been teased, and I guess this is its official release. It's just so weird. Why does Jaden get this card? Anyway, Wind Attribute, level 5, Machine, originally a pterodactyl. I doubt it. He was viciously attacked by a dragon. Using the newest technologies, his keeper saved him from near-fatal wounds and brought him back as a powerful cyborg. 2,500 attack, 1,600 defense. This card is sort of like Gagigo, right? I wonder if there could have been a rivalry between Cybertech Alligator and Goga Giga Gagigo. Both normal monsters, both level 5. This guy's got slightly more attack. Similar design. I don't know. The card's just weird. It's machine. I guess it's a cyborg, so it's half machine. It's just not a pterodactyl. It looks like a dragon that got attacked by another dragon and then upgraded to a robot dragon. Cybertech Alligator is strong enough to be a legend card in Rush Duel. Ooh. That's funny. Final card in the video is the promo card, or I guess the card exclusive to starter deck, Cyrus. I believe this card gets reprinted next set. I'm going to talk about it more then too, because there's probably a lot to say about Expressroid. Earth Attribute, level 4, Machine Effect. When this card is summoned, so normal, flip, or special, you can target 2 Roid monsters in your graveyard except Expressroid. Add those targets to your hand. 400 attack, 1,600 defense. Expressroid makes me think Roids are better than they are. Stratos and Volcanic Slicer. Search cards, +1 on summon. Expressroid, more like Salvage or Recurring Nightmare, or Recycling Batteries, or some other cards. +2 on summon. +2 on summon, regardless of how it's summoned. That's really strong card advantage. The problem is, before we get Speedroids, Roids aren't very good. Yeah, Expressroid can work with Speedroids. I think that's its own argument. Some of the new Roid monsters actually don't work with Wind Attribute Roid monsters, which is funny because I believe Jetroid and Stealthroid and Shuttleroid and Dragonroid. Some of the Cyrusroid monsters are wind attribute, so Mixeroid not working on those is really funny. Mixeroid not working on itself makes sense. That's fine. Certain cards referencing themselves has been a problem in the past. I'm okay with Mixeroid not working on Mixeroid. But Expressroid. So far, Roids have two really decent cards. They got Supercharge, which is a +1. Draw 2 cards. Activation conditions a little bit difficult to fulfill. You gotta have your Roid be attacked by your opponent's monster, which is going to happen. Then you got Expressroid. The problem is, outside of like Drillroid, you don't have any good Roids to bring back. None of them special summon themselves from hand. Your best option for tempo is probably using them as fusion material, but then your fusion monsters are also pretty lame. I don't know, man. God bless all the poor kids that picked up the Cyrus Star deck as their intro to Yu-Gi-Oh! And tried to make Roids work. God bless anyone that tries to make Roids work in general. Before Speedroids. Speedroids are great. Can you imagine getting, special summon Terratop, get Taki Tomborg, link away with those two, normal summon Expressroid, get back your Terratop and Taki Tomborg for later. I don't know. It gives you such great recovery. I just learned that the structure deck did not even have any of the Roid fusion monsters. So there's literally no payoff for running Roids. Thank you, Mizra. Mirza. Thank you, Hamed Mirza. The worst part is, I've seen Roids be played somewhat competitively because Expressroid is such strong card advantage. Roids just need like an Icarus attack or something to special summon them, or a combo extender, or some payoff, or Roids just need anything. They just need a bone. I think that's gonna end the list. Where do I save? There, I save. Uh-oh. Save and download. Next stream, we're looking at Thursday. And we're talking about Tactical Evolution. Another amazing stream? I don't know if it was amazing. This one had many technical difficulties. But I'm glad you enjoyed it, Milo. See you next Thursday. Icarus attack in Roids. Sounds like we are turning Psychroid into a bomb. Parapsychroid is okay. I guess Expressroid could help you get out Parapsychroid, but man, the Roids just don't have anything going for them. Someday we're gonna rank archetypes. I thought about including it into these streams, but we're not quite there yet. I think when we get Gladiator Beasts, we have actual archetype decks in the game. Like, yeah, we've been seeing engines. We've been seeing Gravekeepers played as an engine. We've seen Archfiends have potential, but never really paid off. There's finally enough Harpy decks to build, or Harpy cards to build a Harpy deck. That's good. Volcanics saw a little bit of success as a pure deck. Ninjas have an engine that can special summon quite a lot of different cards from the deck, which is good. Elemental Heroes are playable right now. Crystal Beasts are probably technically playable, but I wouldn't say that they're great. Archetype tier list in the future. At some point, they'll probably get their own streams, though. Gotta make perfectly clear, though, what cards are allowed to be played when we do the archetype streams. That's for a future day. Good night, everyone. Hope you sleep well.